Kettlewell.
Good morning, it's wonderful to be back, and today we're doing a ride that goes from Gargrave to Kettlewell. So we start down here. We actually began in the car park at Gargrave, and then we sort of head out across the usual countryside. You're heading towards Grassington, and we stopped here at Linton Falls, just outside Grassington. Grassington is the other side of the river, and then we crossed over, and then from there you stay above the river rather than taking the main road that goes through Freshfield. We went out on the main road, but Linton Falls is definitely worth a stop and a visit. Very pretty little place, little lane there. Not ideal for a tandem because you can't turn it round, but then we went off into Grassington and then around into Coniston, and Coniston again was another little detour for a bridge over the river. You can't beat the River Wharfe. Is just such a fabulous little river. It's absolutely classic Yorkshire, and this wonderful old bridge. We spoke to a lady there who was so happy in the village. Then off into Kettlewell. Kettlewell is another little pretty village tucked away, and we stopped there, had some lunch, and then turned round and retraced our steps all the way back without the usual detours that we made on the way up. So it was a lot quicker, and of course it's generally downhill, and you can see that from the profile that we had there. It's an absolutely super little trip. So here is the general route, starting at Gargrave, pass through the edge of Hetton, or just beside Hetton, then Linton and Grassington together, up through Coniston, and then up to Kettlewell. Very easy. So we just left the car park in Gargrave, and those of you that have picked up a bike from JD Tandems will know this route well. It's just about the route we take everywhere, but here we turn right, and this takes us off the main road, which to be honest isn't particularly busy, through the estate, and you'll notice it was absolutely heaving with rain on the day we went. Not quite sure why we chose that day, but Yorkshire, to be honest, you just come to expect the bad weather, you dress for it, and it was lovely. It really is quite spectacular, the fresh air, beautiful scenes, and on the bike, of course, you can look over the tops of the hedges quite a lot. So we're heading up, and there are a few junctions that we have to take on this route, but in all honesty, it's not a difficult route at all. It's fairly obvious most of the way. So, heading up, this is the bit of Grassington Road really. Past some building work over the railway line. It's a railway that goes from the local quarry, and then that takes us just to the outside of Grassington. Past that school, we turn left at this junction. This bit of road is busy, but we didn't go far on it before we shot off towards Linton. So you come through the outskirts of Grassington, and that's a quarry on your left hand side with its own trains that come, and we're going to turn right up here. That gets us the other side of the river, so eventually. So don't miss that building. You can recognise it's got 3 rows of windows, and it's very distinctive. So this takes us just over the top, and now we're going to go over that crossroads there and then turn right into Linton Falls. We'll actually retrace our steps again in a minute, but this is pretty nice. So Linton Falls, lots going on. It's looking upstream. As you can see, it's still raining, but this is looking downstream. As you can see, it's still raining. Welcome to Yorkshire, they say. But it's a fabulous place. I'm not quite sure what those pallets are doing out there. Anyway, we get back on the bike, retrace our steps, and then head off into Grassington, and you'll be there very, very quickly. So we turn right onto the main road, bit goes into Grassington, and that is busy. You go over the big bridge. Don't get distracted by a little side route. We head through Grassington. We're going to be making a left turn fairly soon, and that's down here. It's by the police station. There's a police station around here, and a school and a rugby club and all sorts of things tucked away in the back here on the left. We had to stop here because at that moment a fabulous rainbow that doesn't really show up in the pictures came out, and then it's off into the wilds of what really does look like the Yorkshire countryside. Classic Wharfedale, and the rain picked up, as you can see. In all truth, it doesn't matter. We stopped actually to take a few photos there as well, because that was quite an attractive side. Meet a few other people, have a few conversations on the way. I just edit those ones. Suddenly the sun came out and we got into Coniston. Now we need to go right at this junction here, but in fact we just carried straight on and went to the bridge in Coniston, because it's another one of those iconic bridges that we've got with fantastic views. And we had such a nice conversation with a lady who lived there, who was saying that she's been so happy since she moved there 60 odd years beforehand. Said that the whole community has been so kind and helpful, particularly during the COVID lockdown. It's a very, very pretty little village. So then we're going to leave Coniston and carry on up the final bit. So we have to go back into the middle of Coniston, take that junction at there's a little war memorial there, and you just follow it round. It takes you above the road. If we carried on over the bridge, we'd have got onto the main road, but instead we went above the river. So the river's down on our left and it's quite a bit lower, and it's so nice here. It was very peaceful once we got past all the pony trekking clubs and things like that. It was very, very quiet, very peaceful, very tranquil. Meet the odd cyclist on the way. Steeper hills. This one was fairly long, but in all truth it wasn't a hard one. It was fairly straightforward. And then we follow back down. We're dropping down towards Kettlewell now. Through some farms, and here we go into the village of Kettlewell. We actually did a little bit of a loop all the way around the village before we stopped, and rather than going to the pub, we went just out to the edge of the car park, where there was a few picnic benches, and we were able to sit by the river and enjoy the first of the proper sunshine. It nearly warmed up. The autumn colours were spectacular. Look at that, those absolutely fantastic. The sort of maples jumping out from the oaks. Really is very lovely. And then back on the bike and followed way back, reversing our route. We did stop at a house that's at the top here, which is a retreat house. It's called Scargill House, and many people will know it. It's a retreat for, I think it's a Christian retreat, but it's a very, very peaceful place to be. Here we are cycling back, and this bit of the road, in all truth, is mostly downhill. As you get past that first bit, and it was pretty fast. So there we are in Coniston. Back with a few cars. The road isn't wide enough really to let lots of cars past, so you do need to be just alert for those coming along. You actually stop a couple of times on this bit of road and either put on your or take them off because it was so heavily raining. times when it could just feel a bit grim. So here we are, back in Grassington. We turn right and come out from there. And we're not that much further to go, actually. Again, this is really quite pretty. We've just got one more turn. So we turn down here, past the quarry, down the hill. Whilst this road is not pleasant during the rush hour, so just be a little bit aware of that. But we'll soon leave it again. Go back past the school. I think it's a school or community centre, and then there's the house where they're doing all the building, and the little railway line. There we go. And now it's pretty quiet most of the way back. Just little Yorkshire villages, and although there are cars here, it was after work, so it would be later, and no one was really going anywhere. Typical of a ride in Yorkshire. When it rains and rains, and then just as you're about to get home, the sun comes out. You have a lovely time on the Kettlewell. We are heading back now towards Gargrave, and you don't have to start at Gargrave. Our previous route, if you look, actually went from Gargrave south to Settle, and so you could start anywhere. It depends on how much you want to do. We're back at the car park now. So Gargrave to Kettlewell. Do feel free to sign us up. You can download, as you can see over there on the right, the GPX file you can export from our commute page, which is Paul and Diane on the Tandem. Please like and subscribe to this video. That would be really helpful to us. And we look forward to seeing you on our next ride, which is a bit of a beauty. Bye.